Greetings, folks. We have returned once more to the cold ruins of Lastlife, and it's like we're playing an actual campaign. We're coming back with semi-regularity. I love this. I'm Jim, and I play Gregor, the somewhat ghost-like paladin, who died last time and has come back once again. So it's there's a lot of reassembly to do, I think, this session. So we'll see kind of what's happening. And
sweet.
We shall see. Indeed, we're going to go around just say who we are, who we're playing, and then we're going to dive into this thing. So let's go to Rachel. Hello.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel. I use she, her pronouns, and today I am playing Sivna, our lovely hunter and bog mummy who uses they, them pronouns. And they're not in a pickle at all. They're not in a spot, in a rock, and a hard place. They're not between those things. No, nothing is wrong.
No, nothing's wrong. Everything's fine. Everything's perfect. And Charlie.
Hi, I'm Charlie. I play Auden. We both use she, her. Auden is a pretty frozen mage who also died last session. She's coming back, I think. Yeah. Pretty sure.
Excellent. Once again, Lloyd is not with us. He is actually he's at a con this weekend. He's at Dragon Meet, and I hope he is having an excellent time. Now let us turn the reins over to our GM, Mathias. Hello, sir.
Hi, I'm Mathias, him, and yeah, let's play some Cold Ruins of Lastlife. Well, first off, how is everybody? You all doing all right? All excited?
My pulse just absolutely hit the top of how hard it could be beating, but that's it. We're good.
I am excited. I'm also going to be mildly distracted as I'm scrambling around doing things in the background for the first few minutes, but aside from that, I am ready for this. I really am.
I think we can actually wrap a recap into what's actually happening right now in a sense.
This session.
Because I think we get these kind of flashback. There may be like a second, right, or like even less, like only a couple of frames, basically, of what happened last time. Because who knows, right? If you all don't really properly remember what happened last time, that might just be a thing that happens in this game. The Cold Ruins of Lastlife. Maybe you'd like, how stable is memory even now? When we think of last time, what are like 2-3 images that jump to your mind's eye? Gregor.
I remember running across the ice and stabbing 3 large fiery beings that were trapped in it and then disintegrating.
Yeah. You approached them, right? And you fought them off. You finished them off after Auden basically froze them. Which you were also frozen into in the basically ice muck of the mired land that she created.
Yeah. They broke my weapon. The first one did, and then I was using it pretty much as an axe. So I was dealing with sort of dismembered the first one, and then was dealing with it as the other 3 were coming up, and it was...
in my head, Gregor went full anime on those.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. But also, after having a very rough fight with them, but also meaning, Gregor did this to by basically ripping apart his own essence in doing so.
Yep.
And then, yeah. And this happened as you were approaching a small hill with a crypt on top of it. I think we already had Sivna being taken out as well, or being distracted, or I remember you
fell into the bog.
You were pulled into the bog, yeah.
And then Auden pulled me out. And then I guess I had like a breakdown. Pretty much. Because I tried to see what was going on, and all I could see was my worst fear. And then I just started screaming, and I was incapable of doing anything. So taken out of commission, not physically, but psychologically.
Yeah, and On opened the crypt, and inside the crypt found a warrior that we recognized from a memory of Sivna's before, dressed all in tarps and furs, but only we were able to recognize, not Charlie's character. He had been waiting or something at least, and seemed to know or feel who was outside, right?
Yeah.
You remember that, Auden?
Yeah.
And as he basically brushed past you to seek out what was going on outside, with like his sword pulled, advancing on Sivna, you tried to intervene.
And she got.
Yeah, and this almost, well, it's all kind of unnatural here, but in this unnatural speed, he turned and prevented you from casting your spell.
Yep, he sure done did.
What do you think dying's like for Auden? Does it remind you of what dying, like, do you remember your actual death?
She doesn't really remember her death. She remembers the warmth to her first natural death, and this one just feels empty and cold as she has been. At least in my head. That's how I imagine she's feeling.
She doesn't remember anything of her actual death or what led to it.
I don't believe so.
Now, let me ask this: how horrible is it to wake up from death? Because that's happening.
It's not great. It's not great at all.
Is it combined with so is it painful, or?
I imagine it would be very painful, especially because she got stabbed.
Yeah, so would all the instinctive reactions that would follow that, if you were capable of reacting towards the stabbing, still being enacted as you wake up again?
Yeah, it's like a phantom pain.
Yeah, and I think Gregor, this is what kind of rips your attention out of your lethargic self, sitting where you sat when you last rested. It's like this cry. As you hear this cry emanate from like right in front of you, as on basically falls, probably doubles over, or what's this like? Or do you catch yourself on?
I think she would like drop to her knees, clutching herself. Just from the shock and pain of coming back to life again.
So I'm gonna look around from wherever I'm resting. See if I can find her.
No, she's right, basically at the spot where she rested as well.
Okay, so it's just so easily within view then.
Yeah.
I will get up and I will walk over and I'll sort of kneel down and I don't know, is Auden kind of struggling with this at all, or is it more of just a sudden thing, or is there? So this is like is there continuing pain, or is it just more like and?
I think it's more phantom than like continuing.
Okay. So I will I will just sort of wait until just sort of you've kind of dialed in more into what's going on, and then I will offer you a hand up if you want to get up, or if you just need a hand.
She would take it and stand and just kind of try to like right herself.
You both have a bond with each other, right?
Yes, my bond has changed.
Yeah, let's hear about that.
So before I had the using the thing about using the weapon in her service, but that was resolved. So the new bond, which I think is like the kind of thing we could only write in a setting like this. I have died again in Auden's service. She is clearly very important to me. I must find out why.
And Auden, as you look up and you see, we lost Auden.
Oh dear.
Well, you didn't do your job, Gregor.
No!
What are you supposed to die for?
I know, right? Well, no, I saw that when I saw her appear, and when I saw her reappear, then there was I figured, okay, well, she's died as well. I failed. But
let's review your other bonds in the meantime.
let me.
Oh,
yeah, there we go.
There she is.
Do you want me to go over? Did you want me to go over the other bonds that I have, or okay?
Yeah.
My bond with Sivna is Sivna has forgotten their place in the Celestial Order. I will help them realize their potential. Do you want me to read the bond with the Legionnaire, or is that,
Sure. What is that like currently?
the Legionnaire and I once believed in the same ideals in the days before the end. We have diverged now, and I no longer understand them.
Yeah. Yeah, and on as you look up and you see this gauntleted hand reach into your view to help you up, you see Gregor. What's your bond with Gregor?
Gregor once knew the secrets of the kingdom. I will try to get those from them somehow. I need them.
Mhm. Do you take the offered hand?
Oh yeah, I wondered if my thing cut out when I was saying she would stand up. She would take his hand and stand up, and then just try to right herself.
And what's your bond with Sivna?
In the days before the end, Sibna was a noble soul. I fear like what the corruption of the world will do for them. 'Cause I thought mine changed, but no, it was Rachel's changed for Auden, not Auden changing for Sibna. So
I still haven't written that down. So excuse me for one moment where I go to find where I wrote that.
So what's this like? Right. I think this is near a frozen waterfall, if I remember correctly. That's where you originally rested. And you two, do you actually talk to each other, or how do you interact even?
Sorry, go ahead.
do we remember like the last little bit? Like will we remember being companions for travel?
Oh yeah. Like you do remember everything that happened in this game.
Okay, cool. I mean, yeah. Well, if they remember that, I feel like they definitely would talk then. Like,
one thing I would immediately say, I'm sorry, my lady. I must have failed.
no, I mean you were in the midst of battle.
I did not keep you safe. That was what I thought to do.
Well, you didn't see what came after. We should probably try to find Sibna and the fiddler.
Yes. What is it that came after?
This monstrous thing in a crypt that someone might have unleashed.
Was that what Sivna was seeking?
Oh, I think she was doing the opposite of seeking, or I think they're doing the opposite of seeking.
I know that we were there because they wanted. I know that we were there because they had wanted to retrieve something of theirs from that land. Was this a thing that suddenly transitioning the screen for no apparent reason? Sorry. Was that a thing that they had wanted? Was there any sign of it there, or was this crypt simply something else?
I mean, we didn't really get a chance to explore it or anything. Sibna was having quite a conniption for some reason, and I thought maybe we could find some place to rest. No, I mean, so.
Very well. Do you need to rest before we go and seek them out?
No, I think I'm ready to find them.
Mathias, have I rested long enough to level up yet, or is that a thing that will take more time?
No, that's a thing that you don't even you can't even be sure. Like, what are you asking me here?
I am asking. Okay,
I'm asking you how much. You asking me a question about time in this game?
More specifically, I should say the level up move in Dungeon World has.
You can.
It says when you have downtime, and in parentheses it says hours or days. So I'm wondering if, and I understand that time is not necessarily a constant in this setting, but would I have the equivalent of whatever that is?
Yeah. So two things. Yes. So regarding just if you have to spend the time, or you don't have any need to sleep, any biological functions are either removed or suspended. Mm-hmm. But you do need to rest, and you do need to put your head down to think, to contemplate, and be still. So constant action has as much of a risk to you as constant inaction, as you lose yourself to the moment.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and you also notice, so Lady Auden isn't in the best state.
Okay.
Right, Auden? I think you're hovering at 1 HP now.
Yeah. She's not very bright there, so...
How would Gregor be able to tell that you're in a very, how should we say?
I feel like she would maybe, when she's kind of like, let's go, let's find them now. She would take a couple steps and just kind of immediately just all that energy would be gone.
Perhaps.
Just be like, maybe we should rest for a while.
Very good.
Hopefully they'll be all right. And if not, maybe they'll appear here as well. And
yeah.
Yeah.
I hope they are all right.
I hope as well.
All right, so we'll do some resting.
Yeah, so I mean, right, if we were playing Dungeon World, this would be a thing, right? We'd be like talking about, what's this like to make camp? Like, who makes the food? Who breaks out the dice? Who has watch? But that's not, none of those things are a thing in this world.
Yeah.
So when you say we rest, this is basically just the two of you like settling back down again and staring into the middle distance.
We'll do some closed eye, since Auden has eyes, unlike the rest of you all. We'll do some closed eye meditation.
Yeah. I think there's I'm probably staring out into the middle distance for a good portion of it. And I'm just sort of I will wait for I'm just sort of turning thoughts over in my head and just sort of not really saying anything until I see that Auden is somewhat recovered in some fashion.
So, is this something particular you're reaching into, Auden, when you say you go into to meditate? Maybe first off, is this a thing you used to do in real life, or like in your actual life, or is this a thing that's particular to the here and now?
I think a little bit of both. I think when she was alive, she'd probably meditate to kind of like go into her inner power and like feel her magic and stuff. Maybe I'm not sure how. That's how I'm just spitballing it. So I think she would kind of do the same to kind of try to restore balance, because her last couple spells have failed. So
let me ask you this then: Is this you? Is this you examining the ruins of your magical core, or what are we talking about?
I mean, it could be.
Do you see the list of questions?
Let's see.
So it would only make sense if you think this is something you wanted to have apply.
I mean, I don't know how to recover HP. So.
Oh, that's you can do that through resting. That'll happen separately. Yeah.
Yeah, I figured this was how she would rest, because I'm guessing she doesn't really sleep, right? Like.
Yeah, what I'm asking is, are you like interrogating your?
No. It's just kind of like chilling in the magic. You know, like.
Okay.
She's just kind of chilling. Thoughts blank in her magic.
Which is
I'm just trying to rest. I don't know how.
So this is like ice and cold.
Yeah. Sure.
Do we see? Is that something when you like stay in a spot for long that you affect that spot in that manner?
I mean, I'm sure the core temp of that place drops a couple degrees, but other than that, I don't see it affected too much.
Yeah, Gregor, what's your rest like? Oh, and by the way, when you rest, you get wow. Do I not remember this? You before I lie here, I think you get half of your max HP back.
Okay. Cool.
But what's this rest like for Gregor?
I think that there's it's one of those things where it's you know how you sort of you stare off for long enough, you'll start to see patterns in things, whether they're there or not. I think that's kind of what's happening. There's like a point at which Gregor's just sort of sitting there, and eventually just starts to see just shapes in the in the weather patterns, and shapes in the in the trees and the branches and what have you, and then eventually that turns into seeing and it's hard to say. It's not exactly it's not sleep, but so it's not exactly that kind of a thing in terms of a dream, but it's more like starts to see people moving around this area where we've kind of where we're resting, and is just sort of imagining that he sees the waterfall moving in this place as it was before the fall of civilization.
So, yeah, the echoes of the souls that might have passed by here.
Yeah, and it's not really. It's not necessarily as well. Gregor doesn't know whether he's seeing anything real or not. It's probably all in his head, but it sort of feels like, but who knows, right? So yeah, it just sort of is imagining this scenario where because it's like you're seeing this chunk of the past. It's almost as though the end didn't happen, and so gets lost in that for a little bit before he just sort of will end up eventually thinking about it and coming back to it, to reality.
This is a thing though where because this could very well be read as you studying the ruins of Lastlife.
Easily could be, yeah. Shall I do that?
If it makes sense to you to ask questions from that list. I'm offering this opportunity.
Okay, let me take a look at that list real quick. Yeah, okay. I do see a couple questions that might work with this, because it'll be sort of a thing where in moments when it's sort of coming out of it, he will be sort of making a comparison in his head. So I'll go ahead and do that if I may.
Yeah, please.
All right. Okay.
Nice.
9. All right. I get to mark radiance. Okay. And I ask, what here? Because his thoughts are kind of curling in that direction. It's like, well, this was wonderful. Oh wait, this isn't the way it is. In fact, it's gone. It would be nice if we had that still. So the question is, what here can be made into something useful and new?
I think the answer to that comes to you when you pull yourself from watching those echoes of the past back to the one who's resting right in front of you across the camp. Did you mark radiance?
Is it the one on the top or the one on the bottom?
Yeah, it's the one on the top.
On the top, okay. Let me do that then.
And you recover half of your max HP.
Okay.
Like, you take what your max HP is, the half of that, and you get to add it to your current HP.
Okay. Well, I assume did I get? We didn't say specifically. Did I get driven back down to 0 when
Nope.
I dispersed?
You have it's the correct number right now.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'll add it to that then.
Yep.
All right. Sorry, I'm
That's
trying to remember.
that's good.
Alrighty.
And what advancement are you taking?
That's an excellent question. I've been looking at a bunch of other stuff. Let's see.
That's okay. We can cut over to seeing what Sifna's doing.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have it in a minute.
So, I think as we watch these echoes pass with Gregor, we cut over to Sivna. Last we left you, we didn't really get to see anything from your point of view. We just saw you
Screaming.
falter to your knees and scream. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on with you? Don't mind what happened, because you didn't really probably are not in a position to be that aware of it. But what's going on with you? Do you think?
I think what's putting them in such a state of distress and disarray is the fact that what they're looking at and what they're seeing is overlaid with what is actually there. And it's like 50 different scenes all happening at once. And all of them are just filled with blood and the clash of metal against metal and people falling. And some of them, like, I see some faces that I know and some that I don't. And it doesn't really matter because it's just everything is happening all at once. And it's overwhelming as a sensory kind of experience. And then also there's this fear and almost guilt that's eroding away from the inside. This just absolute hysterical kind of terror. Like when something that you really didn't want to happen, like you've been working so hard to do, comes to pass and you feel like it's all your fault.
And there's definitely like, and this just washes into all those images that you're seeing, and it's Auden being run through by this undead warrior, right? That's just another one of those right now. But we see that and recognize that, and he pushes her off of his sword and turns around. What was I? Yes, you. And we see him like approach.
And
yeah,
I was gonna say, when I see his face, I recognize it as that memory. And it's like when you're looking at like a bunch of like film, like all spread out, and it's like all these different layers.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly it just snaps into one, like where everything overlaps into one perfect image and it consolidates. And I stop screaming and I just stare at him.
And he advances on you. And I think there's this moment where something flies between the two of you. He just grabs it and like shoves it aside, and it's the fiddler who's being thrown back, who like kind of tried to intercede, and him advancing on you until he's standing like right in front of you, like the sword point up, up against your chest. He's having this like as if he's like breathing heavily. He's obviously not actually breathing, right? And he looks down on at you, and yeah, I thought that I need to end you. Now that you're before me, why can't I do it?
And I look at him and I say, Clay, how much have you forgotten? You carried this blade and you put it against my chest when you used to hold it at my side. You've forgotten how we fought together, how we carried the dead bodies of our brothers. Have you forgotten how When we found them, we would wrap them, bury them in the ground. You weren't alive to remember, but I was the one who put you in this place. I was the one who wrapped your body. And I was the one who stacked the stones around you.
Yeah, that's like concrete and specific enough to lost memory of Lastlife.
Let's do this. Mark 1 memory. Finally. My recollection, so on a 7 to 9, choose 1. My recollection is either inaccurate or my recollection is incomplete. I'm going to say my recollection is incomplete.
Yeah, and his sword arm trembles, and then in like one swift motion, he pulls it back and falls onto his knees into the murky muck of the swamp as well. With the sword now like that, as he falls to his knees in front of you, and his other arm reaches out to like almost touch you, and he's Sivna. You here.
I didn't know why I was supposed to come back, but I think it was for you.
You've always been the knife, the arrowhead. Yes.
I sit up on my knees and I grab him behind the forehead and I press our foreheads together.
Mm-hmm. To be together again like this, I would not have dreamed, and I would have not wished it upon you. I'm so sorry. Well, we should have killed her. Should have killed who? And I think this is incomplete. It comes rushing back to you now. Mm-hmm. Whatever, like your relationship with Klein, yeah, remembering my own names, with Klein, whatever it was like, we can still explore this. But in one thing, you were partners, and that was in raising and taking care of someone.
No. Okay.
And I think this is how we understand what is this feeling like, this kind of indescript feeling of guilt that's been balled up inside you, where that must come from.
Yeah. I think that whoever we were entrusted to care for, and I failed at that. And not only did I fail at that, I also lost Klein. And I lost everything because I wasn't strong or good enough to protect anyone in the end.
Yeah, what he's implying here is
that we shouldn't have been protecting. Is that we should have?
Or, well, yeah, or at some point at least to kill her.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if Sivna has anything to say to that. I think they're just confused and worried.
You have the option of taking, like, you filled up your memory advancement tracker, right? So you can take your advancement now if you want to.
If everyone's okay with me narrating kind of clumsily, then definitely. So there's a memory advancement that says you remember the truth of who you were along with the full extent of your old skills. I think that pressed up against this old warrior of theirs, what Sivna remembers first is their mother, who was a witch or a sorceress, and her trying to teach them magic, and they're not able to do it. There's something lost in them, but they can kill, and that's what they're good at, which is a different kind of magic, they think. And the next thing that they remember is fighting people coming to the village near where they lived and killing someone in armor marked with the sign of a crown or of some imperial heraldry, and pulling back the blade from their chest and sheathing it, still coated in blood. And then I think they remember going to other villages and walking through forests and walking on dirt paths and finding warriors and young people like them who care for their families and care for their homes. And they see this kingdom who's coming to take their life and their livelihood away from them, away from all of them. And they're traveling all around the continent, and they're talking to people, and they're gathering a force. And Sivna is this kind of not very charismatic in the way that they're charming, but they have this conviction that they need to protect their traditions and their way of life against this encroaching force. And there's these tribes of people who look up to them. And then the next thing they remember is returning to their childhood home, and it's nothing but ash. And they find the body of their mother, and they realize that they were the thing that they cared for most. Their family and what they were trying to protect the whole time was when they were off doing all this grand work and fighting. That's what was left defenseless. And it was their fault that their mother ended up being killed. And I think something in them hardens that day. And then all they do is fight. And it's it's not passionate and uplifting in the way it was. It's all of their teeth grit tight in their jaw and letting loose arrows indiscriminately. And then it leads them to this mired land, except in these days it's green and covered in long grass. And there's a huge army and there's huge forces. And it's obviously not a battle that they can win, but they're going to try anyways. And it's person after person falling, and this desperation of realizing what a mistake this is. And then it's the last thing they remember is being dragged up by the people they helped amass. All these hands on their arms and legs and being bound by rope, and someone saying, "Enough is enough." And then the rope is around their neck and they're being strung up in a tree. And yeah, that's what they remember. And you can tell me what else I remember.
Yeah, no, I love this. So the one you took, could it be, or let me ask you if that makes sense to you, or how you feel about that. When they found their mother dead, they did find one survivor in the ashes.
Yeah. And who is that?
The one who Klein was referring to, that you took under your care.
Okay. Does she have a name?
I don't know if you remember her name. Yeah. And what role she played.
But I know that I found her in the whole village was absolutely just razed to the ground.
Yeah.
And
here's a question. Might she be the one who your mother raised and cared for after you left? Would that make sense, or is that...
I mean, it's possible. I like that idea of like another, I don't know if it's like another child of hers, or if it was a person, like a child of the village or someone else entirely. I don't know if Sivna knows that at all. But they do know that if she meant something to their mother,
yeah, maybe
it's their responsibility to take care of her. That's what they remember now.
Yeah, because that would make her a sibling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Potentially, but would her mother, upon like finding a gifted but orphaned child to take them in,
they would do that. I mean, she would do that.
Yeah. So maybe they after yeah, maybe they found her in the charred ruins of the mother's hut.
Mm-hmm.
Like hidden, tucked away somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Down in the cellar kind of thing, like where we would store dried meat in the winter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like that. And Klein was a companion of some kind. We don't know yet, I think. But yeah. No, I like that. And tell me if you need another moment for that. You also get a whole level up from taking this advancement.
I do. So I'm just going to change my level to level 3. And I'm going to look at stuff. and see.
Maybe we can go back and see if Jim has decided on this level.
Yeah.
He has.
What's that like? Or we already I wasn't watching the time. But tell us about your level up, and maybe then we go on before break.
Okay. Oh no, I'm taking so the new move I took was Divine Favor, so I'm going to grab a little bit of cleric ability. So I get the cleric moves Commune and cast a spell. So I can now cast level 1 cleric spells.
Nice.
And so my Gregor is in as part of his contemplation and seeing what's going on and seeing things shifting around, is now also spending a little time rededicating himself to the ideal of the Eidolon, which he now realizes he needs to not conflate with Sivna, essentially. It's
and I think this is going to beg a couple of theological questions that we need to get into.
Yeah, there's
I like that.
Never meet your deities, folks.
Yeah, shall we take a break on that?
Sure, absolutely. All right, folks. Well, we shall go away for a bit of a break, like 5-10 minutes maybe, and then we shall return. See you shortly. We have returned.
Yes, we have returned, and Gregor is having a religious experience, is what I heard.
Yes. As I just sort of see, okay, it's like I'm going to need. Well, after the revelation that that apparently the thing here that can be. And I want to make sure that I have this right, because I think in my head may have gone in a different direction. Let me see. That which needs to be helped and developed along here includes Auden in some way or another. And that it's like, okay, I think to myself, okay, I need to actually get back to my fundamentals here and figure out exactly what is going on. And I need to separate out in my head Sivna the Avatar from the Eidolon, which is they are separate entities in the religion, but they're also the same after a while, and it's like, wait, no, there were other things that happened. So
it's a very Catholic thing.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. Small green and split three ways. No, wait. Anyway, so yeah, just thinking about it, just sort of trying to get back in touch with the root idea of the Eidolon, which was the more to do with the burn.
Yeah, tell me about that. What's the root idea of the Eidolon, right? What does this stand for? Like, you how shall we call it? Reconnecting with it?
Trying to, yeah. It's or some vestige of it. It's more of one could think of it as like a kind of a hyper thought form almost. The idea of what the Eidolon represents is it's not exactly imposing order on chaos, but it's close. It's got to do with harnessing the raw potential of the universe and channeling it toward good things, basically. The idea of the reason why our symbol is that sigil on top of a comet is that the comet is representing sort of the roiling power of the stars, and we can effectively, shall we say, ride the comet by directing its energies, and this is metaphorical to obviously, but by seeing how the fundamentals of existence work and believing in their potential for good rather than to simply write them off as either reality is against me or screw the universe, that kind of thing, or try to force it to into become something it's not. It's more a question of like, okay, we can aim this so that we may, not only we may benefit from it, but so that everyone may benefit from it. And I think in the early days of the Order, it was, it has gotten somewhat more, in more recent times, because the comet is descending now. It has been more aimed.
Well, obviously it has crashed.
Yeah. At this point, comet's down. At this point, it's it was aimed more toward
comet's down, and you were the dinosaurs.
Yeah, basically.
But no, I like that, and it makes a lot of sense that this religion or order kind of hooked up with what we just learned about that movement that Sivna started.
Yeah.
Right. That would play directly into those things, especially if like your religion was in its origin tied to that. Writing and directing the uncontrollable for the good of everyone is kind of sounds very much in line with that. Kind of, I'm reading it as an anti-authoritarian movement that Sivna led.
A little bit revolutionary, but like before they dominate you, it's a preemptive revolution.
Yeah.
Maybe she was the one. Maybe they were the one that showed us how to basically aim the comet down instead of up, as it were. That's how they interpreted it later.
That's the script. How the scriptures described it later. So, but what's like a thing? What's like a thing from life that was kind of reflective or signature thing of the Eidolon, of the Order of the Eidolon, or however you want to call it. What I'm asking for is it like there might be elemental or associations or something like certain omens, or because we have the sigil, we have the comet, right?
Yeah.
How would have that power manifested?
So are we talking about like in the appearance of the Eidolon as an entity, or are we talking about things that the Order did?
Neither. What I mean is no, that's cool. Because those two questions are also very interesting. What I mean is how, because there's a real power behind that, right? And how would that manifest it in like everyday things? What I mean is like, right, so if I'm the priest of the god of fire,
yes,
the campfire would flare up when I invoke, right? That kind of thing is, or it's also valid to say no, it's not like that at all. It's much more like real earth religions, where it's much more ephemeral.
Okay. So yeah, it's a question of like, are there special effects, that type of thing?
In a way, right?
Yeah.
But is there a thing where basically can we do something visual here as Gregor's realizing this?
Okay. Well, something that he would interpret as like a sign,
for example,
would be. I think it's interesting if you start seeing if like maybe as okay,
right. I'm also grasping for what is like imagery, what are aspects of this religion, right? Early Christians would have had the fish, as an example here. That's what I'm kind of like.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, that's right now. My brain, the first place my brain goes to is constellations, but so I mean that's the thing, seeing constellations in every day. However, he said, going to a randomizer here. Let me see if there's anything interesting in here that I can. I think that so they'd have. I mean, certain times it would be like seeing certain patterns in things. It would be like in that tree. It'd be like in that tree line. I can see what looks like the shape of one of the several different symbols of life, or symbols of healing, or symbol of balance, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So, Yeah, anything where it's like there's a potential for a pattern and you can make the thing into a pattern and the pattern sort of appears. And maybe if there's like a sign of it, then it could be like where it'd probably be fairly subtle in that, it'd be like, the sun breaks through and shines on something and they sparkle in a particular way.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Are we like talking praise the sun ideas here from Dark Souls, right? That also gives us a direction, what I'm trying to feel out.
Yeah, sadly, I'm not.
You can think about this a little bit more.
Kind of but it's kind of a thing where it's like you just sort of see these things sort of come up, and it's like I can recognize these, that is there. And that is there for a direction. And I mean, the biggest one, of course, is like when the clouds part and it's nighttime and you see the stars up there. But
it's all about seeing patterns. It's all about that kind of thing. Yeah, I'm getting an idea here. Yeah. You're remembering a lost memory. I think you need to roll.
All right.
Because I want to know how much I can fuck with this.
Excellent. Let's see. Recall a lost memory. Here we go. All right.
Yeah. Quite a bit.
Yay!
Unless there's someone who can give help here.
I'm super far away, so sorry about that.
Yeah, but you're also super connected.
I mean, that's true.
No, so the narrative reach is definitely potentially present. If you want to impose something onto, right, you can be completely hands off of this order because it all happened after you died.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could state something where you're like, no, there's true facts that go back to Sivna, and they are, and I would count that as a kind of especially because we're blending over from you realizing who you were to Gregor realizing something about his connection to this faith.
Let me think.
I can work with the 6 as well, so I don't mind about that.
Yeah, I like the idea of a 6. I think it's fun.
Yep.
I'm good with it.
Sorry.
Oh, no worries. I think it's more interesting when it's off the mark.
For now, it is as you say. Gregor.
Okay.
And I think you're staring down into the things like icy crystals that have formed in the dirt, and you see those patterns that you're that remind you, that bring this back. Or maybe it's the other way around, because it comes back to you, you're able to see these patterns. But then it's we see them and then we see them almost vibrate or get out of focus or something like that. And this is because you can feel them before you can hear them. And you can hear them before you can see them. There's a tremor in the ground, like so many hoofs hitting the earth. That's when you realize you can hear the thundering of hoofs. Someone or something is approaching. What do you do?
Okay. Well, I'm going to.
Pardon, you perceive this as well? What do you two do?
Right.
I'm gonna get up and just as you know, this is coming up. I'm going to I'm going to find a like a dead sapling or something else or a stick or just something I can pick up to wield defensively.
Yeah, because you're kind of unarmed, right?
Yeah, that was the next problem I was going to try to deal with. But or actually, what's more badass is if there's like a sort of an offshoot from the frozen waterfall that's like big icicle looking thing that I can grab and tear off.
Okay, I like that.
And
Yes.
and wield that for a while.
You tear off an icicle as a stabby weapon.
Yeah, so I've got that, and I just ready myself and get to position myself between where I perceive it to be coming from and Auden.
Auden is also gonna stand up and prepare herself for a friendly or a not so friendly encounter.
Yeah, and you see at least what amounts to 3 riders in looks like heavy clad armor on top of undead steeds in full gallop heading towards you. What do you do?
I think for me, I'm going to. First of all, I'm not going to actively try to stand in their way necessarily, unless they're aiming right at, right in the direction where where they'd be. Their path would take them toward Auden. So if it does it look? I mean, you said they're coming right. They're coming at us. But is it like? Do they have like blades drawn, or do they just look like they're riding hard? Or
it looks like they're riding hard, and they each carry lances, but they're not. The lances are pulled up. Like you can see the little banners tied to the ends of the lances, flying in the wind. Yeah, and what do you do? Auden is there. Like, I think they're like heading towards you, and at some distance, they split into two, and you're going to be surrounded. Or apparently that's what, or maybe they're passing, but honestly, you're not too far off if you're getting a Riders of Rohan vibe from this.
Mm-hmm. She's just gonna stand down for now until they do surround them or do anything aggressive other than ride.
Yeah, and they form like two circles turning in on each other, right? As they close in and basically pin you here. So like a couple of steps, like you couldn't reach out and touch them or anything at this point. But you're like turning around, watching all of it. If you want to, you can study them, but you don't need to.
I would. I actually am curious about what the symbol is that's on the banner and if it's recognizable at all.
Yeah, that definitely sounds. You're trying to study the ruins.
All right. Dee. There it is. Okay, we're back in the. All right, I still had my -1 up there, but that was from specifically the mired land, right?
Correct. You're not in the mired land now.
All right. Okay. 7.
Okay, so so as they surround you and fly around you, right? What do you as players remember about the whole Jareth Ray or whatever? How is it pronounced? You know what I'm talking about?
Order of Hol Jetheri?
Yes.
Hol Jetheri. Let's see.
Hol Jetheri, yeah, that sounds like pronounceable. Let's keep it like that.
Hol Jetheri. I wrote down Order of Hol Jetheri, and that's all I wrote down. I'm trying to remember if they were. I wrote it down next to Castle Oblivion, but I can't remember if that was. Oh, wait a minute! No, I also wrote it down to Infant and Crystal Orb. I didn't mention the infant after I remembered it, but I think they might be the ones that were dedicated to.
Yes, that's it's the name of your fucking art.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. Oh yeah, that's us. And dedicated to the idea of that there's an infant in a crystal orb that's supposed to take the throne of Castle Oblivion. That's their rightful. That's their rightful throne.
Yeah, and these are those people.
Yeah.
Or you people, apparently.
Should be, yeah.
What questions do you want to ask?
Okay, so I get 1, and I should mark Radiance, which I will do in a moment. What here is wrong or strange?
What here is wrong and strange? Right. I mean, this is a posturing thing that they're doing. They're circling in on each other, and seeing how you react. And soon, a leader of theirs will emerge and confront you. That's what you're expecting. So you can be like, you're like, oh no, that's you can stand your ground, and if you like, it'll be better if you appear to not be panicking.
All right.
So yeah, as you're like, all right, well, let's play this game with them, and let's see where this leads, and whoever's going to emerge as their leader.
Okay.
You have this. You can't help but feel this darkness at the side of you. Yeah, and as you like peer over, it's Auden, who's like feels off or strange, wrong. And that's when there's like the silent rear of one of the steeds as it dances forward, and it's got a rider on its back, like actually pulls off. Oh no, it doesn't. Who lowers their lance at you and calls out, "Who are you, and where are you passing to?"
Okay. I will raise my hand as in non-violent greeting, and I am Sir Gregor of the Order of the Eidolon. We are just from the coming from the Mired Land. We are likely to return there. We are seeking someone.
And I think her riled up undead steed does this thing where it turns around once, right? And they keep a look at you and then turn around again, as the steed turns once full, and then motions with the lance. And who's she?
I will say, this is the Lady Auden.
And who are you?
And this nervous backstabbing of the horse, right? As the person raises the lance and stocks it up in its holder on the side of the saddle, and takes the other hand and pulls off helmet, and reveals the face of an undead person with still very, very much intact skin and flesh on their skull, and actually revealing a mane of red hair. And she says, "I am Brathra, and I write for the infant. You say the Eidolon? Show me what truth you have. Show me you are who you are."
Well, I'm assuming they're not believing the symbol on the chest. So what I will then do, is looking at his bag of tricks.
I think you look down and she's like, anyone who could have taken that armor.
They would have had to get through me first. Let's see. Which terrible thing shall I do? So moving over to this, yeah. All right.
It's the thing where you're like, I'll show, you'll answer my previous question.
Yeah. So, do I have access to the spells that I picked up? Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Excellent. So here's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to step forward. I'm going to be intoning the rite of death communion. This is going to get weird, possibly because of the way that I'm using this spell. But I want to just sort of gently. I shall step forward, hand up, and I will speak to the horse on which she is sitting, and
All right.
I will say, "From whence do you come?" And I guess that is casting a spell.
Well, do you want to read the spell?
Oh yeah, so speak with dead. Yeah.
That's awesome. This is the best spell for this game, I think. Let's see.
A corpse converses with you briefly. It will answer any 3 questions you pose to it to the best of the knowledge it had in life and the knowledge it gained in death.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I see many potential uses for this. But I almost used it on her, but no, I shall use it on her horse. Assuming it works. So let's see. And so, as I sort of am stepping forward and I do this, I actually raise my visor so that she can see the glowing eyes and the pinpricks in front of the eyes, and watch as I do this. And I try to form the little starry pattern in front of the in front of the horse.
Yeah, nice. So we get what this looks like as well. Nice.
Yeah. It's sort of a light blue thing, like like a tiny constellation forming in front
Color
of
of stars. Yes.
The horse's forehead here. But let's see how horribly I screw this up. Terribly.
Well,
maybe. Sorry.
Yeah.
So that is a 4.
What did you try to achieve by this? By the way, what are you hoping for?
I was trying to get the horse to. Oh, I'm sorry. No, it's the first one that I accidentally clicked it a second time there. No, what I was trying to do was to get the horse to say to me where it was, to answer the question of where it's just come from.
Yeah, but with what goal?
To demonstrate that. Well, the goal is to demonstrate that I am that I am of the Order of the Eidolon, and that I am conversant with the Eidolon's ways and in touch with the Eidolon.
Yeah, and I think what happens is that the horse very quickly calms, and Brethra, in this very surprised, or we can see that she looks at you, and then she dismounts and steps close to you and looks you in your eyes and is like, "It can't be, can it? Gregor?
Do I know you?"
And she grabs you by your shoulders. It is your armor. And she pulls you close. And here I want to cut over to Sifna and Klein. I think you've been like resting in this kind of communion for a bit. And as you stand, we see like a dozen or so corpses that have stood up and formed like a ring around you.
Okay.
Corpses of warriors of the battle. Like these are armored, like in really bad state, obviously, armored and in armor and armored. In different state of decay, yeah, and I think he steps back and looks around and says, "Oh, what have they been raised by?"
I don't know.
You do not.
There are still many things that I cannot remember.
And he turns like once full circle and he's like, "It is like it was in life. They just seem to follow you. Is that it? Is that it, Siv?" Using like an old shortened.
Yeah. I crack as much of a smile as I can, and I say,
which is it literally cracks.
Yeah, it's horrifying in the worst way. I think I draw my bow and I say, I can't help that danger seems to be attracted to me.
And he holds out a hand and he's like, "Wait." And takes like a step closer to one of the nearest one. They don't look like they're about to fight. And true enough, like the one he steps close to doesn't like move to raise the saber that they're holding or anything like that. He kind of steps around it and looks close at that one. "I can't read. Oh my God. What side this one was on," but like holds out like a hand in front. No reaction.
Okay. I guess I'm gonna put my weapon back and
or have it at the ready, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I'm just.
You always
like,
have.
I'll hold my bow, but I put the arrow back in my quiver, and I'm gonna go up to another one near me and look at that corpse, and I want to look at its armor and like what it's wearing, and also wave in front of its face and try and.
I think you're going for studying it.
Yeah. How would that just be study the ruins?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I think the fiddler uses the chance to like sidle up to you. Klein has been ignoring him, except for the part where he got in his way. And he's like, what is happening? Can we trust him?
They died because of me. if I don't trust them, if I don't trust him, then I don't know what I would do.
He ran the Lady Auden through. I saw it. To give me your roll, though. That's what.
Awesome. So I get to mark Radiance. So I'm looking at the list of questions, and I'm trying to figure out what I want to know. I guess I want to know what is about to happen with these people, with these corpses.
I think as you walk, you take a good look at this corpse in front of you. You're right. I don't think it necessarily wears like any recognizable armor or anything you remember. At least not this moment right now. But you touch them, and there's like this slight movement of the head towards you, right? And then you like go around this undead person, and as you go like past them, it turns with you. Clayton seems to be on the right track with. No shit, they're following you.
Okay. That's weird. But they don't seem like they're gonna attack, do they?
No.
Okay.
That whatever it was that made them, whatever spark caught them to rise up out of the bog is a thing. You've got like this good dozen of hollows that
seem to be attached to me. Lovely.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh. See,
yes, like
Sivna would be very disconcerted with the fact that they're hollow. I think they wouldn't like that. I think they would want to try and wake them up. They don't know how. That's tricky.
You had this talent in life too. You did things and people just seemed to follow you.
It's not talent I have asked for, but useful nonetheless.
A talent, and it seems not even death shook from you. Let's cut over to so what's happening with a whole Jethray? I need to practice that and get down some kind of pronunciation. It's horrible. I think as we cut back, like the rest kind of also like have dismounted, and there's this thing where they like making camp or rest as well, right? And doing that stuff, and we see like Brethra like or they are all dismounting at this moment, and Brethra is like taking you by your shoulder, and it's like I've missed you, brother.
Just, sort of realization.
Who's this woman you're traveling with? They're all giving you Auden like a wide berth, right?
This is the lady to whom I am pledged in service. I must defend her always.
She turns you and gives you like this concerned look. We're pledged to the infant. We're pledged to the Eidolon.
But of course, it is not. It's not a conflict. I do not believe. I know that.
Anyway, it is good to see you, even though I felt, I don't know why, that I would never see you again.
I am sorry, I am having some trouble placing you. I feel I know you, and I have had memories of family, but not faces. Are we family?
What is going on? She like takes a step back from you and looks at you questioningly. Here's also the thing, right? You don't actually have a face, right? Or how's that work again?
I have a face. It's just that it's
translucent at parts.
It can be. It can come and go. And I raised my visor so that so
it's not like she's recognized your ghostliness or lack of a better term here.
Yeah, it's. I mean, yeah, my face. It's a completely different. It's a different shade from what it was. The face and the hair. I mean, it's. So say the apparition is the same shape as the body was, but it is an apparition. And the armor is the most solid thing about me. As upon your return, did you not have some difficulties with memory? I have.
No, I remember what's important.
I am pledged above all else to the Eidolon, truly, but I am also pledged to protect the Lady Auden.
It is our kingdom's ruler. How can that be? And she like looks over and gives like this long look at Auden. Auden, what are you doing, by the way, with these strange knights having this mounted and like?
She's probably just been like standing, arms crossed, slightly annoyed, but just kind of observing everyone.
Yeah, have you been studying them? Is that what I'm hearing here?
I mean, sure.
Yeah.
You made a roll for that?
Yeah.
All right. I think this is the first time I've studied the ruins. Well.
Well, first off, you get to mark radiance, so that's an important thing here. Potentially, Gregor's in a position to help if you want to go for that fictionally. You remember how to do the marking thingy? It's
vaguely.
The yellow one on top. You should be able to, like the whole thing, right-click it and choose.
Got it. She would ask what here is vulnerable to her.
Yeah. I think I think the crispness of the air and your magic ways have made you follow that entire seemingly private conversation between Gregor and Brethra.
Okay.
And she's studying you. Gregor, did you want to help here, or?
I'd like to. I'm trying to figure out how to make that work fictionally for what this is how I would be helping her to know who. I probably am. I'm among other things. I will probably also be asking, just sort of looking back at Auden and just sort of nodding and looking back and just sort of looking at Brethra. Do you not remember her? And just kind of trying to create, doing the, I guess more than anything else, doing the sort of the look association thing. Will that work, basically?
We're all on the same side here, kind of thing. You're putting in a word for Auden, That's what you were going for already, I think, yes. Yeah. That makes sense. So Auden, to answer your question, they are susceptible to be spun. If you get my meaning.
Okay. I don't, but
you remember that they the whole Jethera. It's worse when I try to read it, actually. That they are devoted to a single cause, the kingdom of old and its ruler. Do they remember the name of the kingdom? No. Do they remember why it's so important? No. Do they know the parents of the kingdom's rightful ruler? No. Do they know their rulers, their kingdom's do they know who their kingdom's ruler is? Yes.
The infant.
Yes. And you followed everything that's passed between Gregor and Brethra. And they have strong convictions, but they have no basis for them.
Mood.
So they're vulnerable to being manipulated.
Okay, cool. Not going to do anything with that information at the moment.
Do you, Gregor, are you rolling to help?
Yeah, so I was just looking up the rules for that to try to remember how that works. I'm going aid or interfere, right? Roll plus bond?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So I have one bond with Auden, so I will roll that with a +1. Success, fine. 11.
So there's you can even ask 2 more questions, Auden, or if you like, you can hand off one question to Gregor if you want him to ask one.
Gregor can ask one. I guess what is about to happen?
So I think you get the gist that Brethra is trying to decide if she's going to offer you to come with them. I think you can even like read in her face, like in an open book, in the sense of, I can't leave them here. Can I? Or should I leave them here? And she looks back at Gregor, this thing, no, he's my brother. I cannot leave them here. And then she's like, to Gregor, you have not you've not been set upon a creature. We're hunting. And she pulls out like a bag, and and there's something squirming inside, right? And she puts a gauntleted hand into it and pulls out this Well, its form is that kind of like a sausage with like little legs sticking out. And its tail is like wagging. And in front it has a mouth with like very human looking teeth. But it's got no nose, no eyes.
Should I ask my handed off question before we proceed, or is that count?
Well, you can ask it whenever you want. I can, and it gives us like this tearing screech, which is like everyone kind of steps like a way back, and Breatha's like holding it out. Ah, yes, one of these, just bigger. And it caught one of ours, and I think she like almost strangles it to make it stop screeching, because it's an actual like painful screech. Like, if this small thing can screech like that, you don't want to know what the big thing could do with its voice. And she's like, one of these and bigger got one of ours. And then it just like belched forward more of these.
Huh. Now, I presume that doesn't look like stitched together like the ones in the manor that we fought in the manor, does it?
No. This is like a creature.
Okay.
And it's got like, so it has this body with like a kind of long neck and these arms and legs that kind of end in what amounts to hands, but they're like, but it's set up as if it's like running on 4 legs, and it doesn't have a face; it just has a mouth.
I mean, we caught a musician earlier.
We have not come across anything like that specifically. Quick question. Auden, what was the first question you had asked of your 3?
What are they vulnerable to?
Okay, all right. So I think the follow-up question, although I'm getting an inkling, I think, of its answer already, is going to be, how could I take control here?
If you assume authority in a convincing and confident manner.
Okay. And so looking at it, I say, such a thing. Yes, clearly such a thing, though, must be hunted. It is and dealt with. Is this? There is much we must discuss, for there is. You are aware there is someone on the throne Obsidian at this time, a usurper.
Yes, we are aware. She needs to go.
The one that we were with, I think, could be of aid to us in that.
The one you were with?
Yes. We lost
Brother,
them.
what do you speak of?
I am. So Gregor is racking his transparent brain, trying to remember which particular side of the Sivna line Brethra fell on. Because up until this point, though, he hasn't remembered Brethra at all. So it's...
I mean, in this game, you can just
So
You can just declare what you recall, or you can just come up with a memory.
okay.
Just say what it is, and then we'll see if it's true or
Yes. I think that I'm remembering that there was like the last argument that I had with Brethra.
Oh,
Or at least Gregor imagines that it's Brethra. This, but we'll see how accurate it is. That was taking place in a library. And it was as things... they were holed up in it because this was as things were going to hell. And it had to do with the question of faith that the representative of the Eidolon would return. That the question of whether Sivna would return to aid us, and I fell more on the side that we have been led astray here, and that I'm going to need to find something else that will work. And as this sort of memory plays out, essentially I turn and leave to do the thing that I thought was going to save the world. What specifically that was, I haven't remembered yet.
yeah.
But
Roll.
yeah.
So I fucking know what it is.
Oh God. Where'd my character sheet go? There it is. Okay.
I think I know. Let's see if
Recall
it's...
lost memory. Here we go. Ooh.
No, that's an 11. So I don't get to say shit here.
Ah. Excellent.
So on a hit, you mark one memory. On a 10 plus, your recollection is accurate and complete. The GM will fill it out with... Oh, I get to fill it out, but I'll won't just get to say. I think... So here's the thing that... if you're cool with it, the argument was about, and I think this was when Brethra warned you against, right? These were, I think she says this. It's like she's like desperate. We were desperate, but. You deciding to go and awaken the angel. Brother, at least it gave us a fighting chance.
Is she saying this to me now, or is this back in the memory? Okay, I will say
both.
Oh, okay, yeah. I will say
in a later memory, right? When she fessed up to like having doubted you.
Yeah, I will. History's repeating itself. I say, but this time I say, I should tell you, you are right. You were right, though. I should have kept faith, but it was merely the time factor that I was incorrect about. This will sound difficult to believe.
I remember her now, yes. What?
But our companion, I say, just sort of looking at Auden, whom we have just lost, whom awakened not far from here, and whom we joined, is Sivna.
Like, I think Brother was like stops her in her tracks. What are you? The Sivna?
I could scarcely believe it myself at first, and I think perhaps you're recalling the attitude I had, and that expressed itself at that time, and we did not get along completely well at first. But
and we
yes,
still Brother, we still have a chance then.
yes, I think we may.
If this is Sivna, you're speaking of the guardian of the angel.
Yes.
Are you not?
I am. And she had, it says Gregor, as he's remembering himself,
she like grasps your shoulder and like...
She has also had difficulty remembering. She does not understand her potential. Sorry.
Yeah. Because
Jim is a moron. Apologies. Gregor is saying they.
Yeah, to point this out, Brother has been using she for the angel.
The angel. Okay, all right. Okay, so the angel is a she. Okay. Angel is a she. Sivna is they. And I think when I redo Brother, when I redo, I'm just going to say this publicly so that I'm held to it. When I redo and upgrade this overlay, I'm going to put the pronouns on there, so that I can also have that in front of me when this is going on. But yes, they are the as Gregor will say, they have lost their some memory. They perhaps do not understand their potential. For what they last remember was from some time ago.
Brother like turns around and like, so where are they? It is not her, is it?
No.
And pointing at Auden. Auden, we've established you can hear everything here, right? So you interject yourself whenever you want.
They are in the Mired land. They were in the Mired lands when we lost them. We were
There's no time to
in
spare.
preparation to seek them out again.
And she like whistles, and it's like an immediate like saddle up command. Brother, you need to come with us. And like someone approaches with like an extra horse. I mean, they lost someone last night, right? Mm. Last night. And it's an extra undead steed that she hands the reins to you.
All right. Well, it's where do you head?
Well, to the Mired lands.
Very good.
You need to find them.
I will. I will then immediately. I'll bring pull the horse, and I will let. I'm not going to get on yet, though. I'm actually going to.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
I need to get on first, though, to make this work. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know what you're doing. Yeah.
No, I'm going to basically. I'm going to come over to get on the horse and then give if Auden wishes to ride. Well, actually, I'm going to find before I get up on the horse, because this protocol. I will turn to Auden. Would you ride with me? Because I see there's only the one horse.
Auden wants to ride with Brethra. Just to be annoying to Brethra.
I have no problem with that.
How do you express this, though?
She's just going to go get on Brethra's horse.
I don't think you can just get on someone's horse when there's someone like riding the horse already. I think
she'll like stop the horse and then be like, "Can I ride with you?"
her eyes narrow, and she's she almost went to the weapon at her side, right? And she looks at you and says, "We're riding into battle potentially. I don't need to know one with me on my horse when we do so."
I'll get off before then.
I do not even know who you are, Lady Auden, and why you travel with my brother.
She is quite formidable, I will say to Brethra.
And how do you know she's aligned with us?
She could have destroyed me at any time. She did not. Also,
naive of heart as you ever were in life.
I just sort of kind of smile, kind of half smile at that, and I say, "You may note, I am still trying to save everyone."
I just want to find Sibna, honestly. I'm not really aligned with anyone.
I'll actually look. Gregor actually looks slightly hurt at that.
There might be a move here potentially. I'm not sure. There is the move Sway Hearts and Minds, which is when you're swaying the hearts and minds of others, or otherwise find yourself socially or intimately in a vulnerable position. Say how you're putting yourself out there and what you hope to achieve and roll. And then you get to choose if you do it by being physically imposing, by tricking the senses or distracting them, by being stoic and stubborn, which sounds like you might be, or by arguing your case, or by being insightful and empathic, or by inspiring or playing to their emotions. You roll with a different thing. But first, if you want to go for this and basically make this happen, that you're riding with Brethra, is you have to say how you're putting yourself out there and what you hope to achieve is, I think, clear. To be riding with Brethra and annoy her, or is there more to it?
I don't know. I just want to ride with her. I don't know why I want to do the things I do. I just do them.
Okay, but how are you putting yourself out there? Or putting yourself in a vulnerable position here? You think?
Well, if I ride with you, Gregor will be more focused on the battle when he rides in.
So you're, what I'm hearing is you're putting yourself out there that you'll be also under Brethra's control.
No, like I'll be like less distracting to Gregor if she.
No. The point here is though you have to say how you're putting yourself in a potentially vulnerable position to get what you want. If that makes sense.
I don't know.
I mean, if you rode with Brethra, you would be at potentially her mercy. If Gregor's not looking and she wanted to slit your throat or shiv you, she could, probably.
Oh, well, sure. And if you're so worried about my honor, I'll be in closer hitting range.
Nice. So, what do you think this is? Are you being stoic and stubborn and laughing it off? Or because that's what it sounds like to me, but I'm willing to hear. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Then it's so when you click on it, it'll ask you what thing to roll with, and would be calm then.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah.
That's a big one.
Maiden Lorden. I guess you're correct. And she puts her hand, lowers her hand to pull you up onto the horse.
And Autumn will take it.
Yeah, and she pulls you up in front of her onto the saddle. Nice. And then
Sorry, you guys. Sometimes the annoying just has to jump out.
Great.
I mean, it's cool. I'm all for it. I like that you're now connecting with brother in one way or another.
I love it.
And I think, now we get the aerial shot of that whole band of riders taking off and riding off towards the Mired Land, right? And back in the Mired Land, what have you been up to, or after this revelation? Do you think? Are you moving somewhere, or are you staying put, or?
I don't know if Klain is quite what Sivna had been looking for, that call to them when they were I mean, it's a welcome thing to find, but I don't know if when they first saw something in the Mired Lands, they don't know if what it is what was calling to them, if that was Klain or if it was something else.
Yeah, potentially Klain. The script.
Yeah, so that's what they're investigating.
Yeah.
Is their weapon at their side. They're looking, I guess I'm reaching into the muck, the mulch of the Mired Land. Or
if you want to, yeah, for what? Or
I mean, well, what I'm specifically looking for is, well, let's just say, let's erase all that. Let's backtrack. Yeah. What I'm doing is I'm going around to each of the corpse soldiers, and they, as I walk around, they kind of follow me like a shoal of fish almost. Is that or do they just follow me with their bodies, or do they not just physically?
They will follow you where you go, but they won't be I don't think it'll be it will be more fuzzy. They will keep up with you. I think as they get more and more into it, they will behave more and more as if they would be a companions of sorts, or a company, right? Mm-hmm. So there might even be at times someone who scouts out ahead in the general direction you're going. They will be less like a shoal of fish that are just mindlessly following you. They'll be following you contextually, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they're not just mindlessly following. It's they're serving roles.
Yeah, kind of, right. If you would set up camp, probably a couple of them would go to be guards and take up a watch or something like that.
I want to. So I'm walking. I guess I'm trying to. I don't know where my companions have gone, so I'm just should I stay put and wait for them to come to me? I think I'm going to keep on exploring the Mired Land and push further and deeper. But as I'm doing this, I fall back into step with Klain.
Yeah.
And I say, my friend the fiddler said that you killed a companion of mine.
I did.
Perhaps I trust you. I trust you with my unlife. But perhaps it is for the best that you surrender unto me your sword until you've come completely to yourself.
She did try to use her magics on me.
That's what she does. She's a magician.
Then it is wondrous company you keep these days. How do you know to trust her? I think he has unbelted the scabbard and holds the sword in his hands, like looking at it, thinking about it.
I don't know whether to trust her or not, but we cannot be making decisions to kill people without a second thought. Our memories are all we have, and we have very little of that.
We used to do this, though. Kill without a second thought. Well, until the end, at least. And he looks, there's like a look of bitterness that passes over his face. You're gonna have to make a roll here to convince him to give you his sword.
Yeah, I think I'm swaying hearts and minds.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I think I'm trying to be insightful and come across empathetically, and just saying, like, here are the facts, and you can't do this, right? So I don't know if that's intelligence or wisdom.
And how are you putting yourself out there with him?
How am I putting myself at risk? Well, there's something that he remembers that I don't, that he holds against me because he was going to kill me.
Yes. Yeah.
So by putting myself close to him and by lowering my guard, I'm putting myself in possible danger. Right? To him. If if this makes him angry.
Yeah. Also, yeah, like more, probably less at physical risk, because he's been like only remembering, as you've been remembering now, more and more, and becoming more certain in things.
He could tell a truth to me that would devastate me.
Yes, I think that's correct.
So I think I'm rolling with what I'm trying to get up is by being insightful into the situation. Yep. So I'm going to roll that with Wiz. Awesome.
Yeah, you do it. And I think yes, he lowers his head and he says, no, I trust you. Should we run into something? I'll look to you.
Well, it seems hopefully our new friends will help protect us.
Hopefully they will, yeah. And then you said you were exploring the ruins, right?
Yeah.
Mm,
I don't know.
I think this is traveling the ruins. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So that's a 9. So you write down 1 hold.
Cool.
Also, you get to describe the path you take. What are you like exploring for that might be interesting as well? I mean, this is cool, right? This is exploration could just be a very meandering kind of way. So it's cool to be vague here, I think. But it's interesting to me to hear what you might be looking for or hoping for.
I think what I was not necessarily directly looking for, but it's what piques Sivna's interest, and it's what they find is another burial place that has the same markings and a similar not it's I think it's more decrepit than definitely the one that Clan was buried in, but it's still like a cairn, and I can pick out the keystones of it in the muck that's kind of half submerged, coming out from the dead grass. And I walk towards it, and I start looking for a way to get in.
And I think because I want to have Fiddle at your side once more here, where you like, I think the rest of the undead, they kind of take up like a guarded perimeter as you look to these ruins, and Fiddler sidles up to you once more, and he's like, "What are we looking for? Also very good of you to take the sword from him."
Yeah, well, it's all I could think of to do. Can't hurt him again. If he's awake, then maybe others are too. And
maybe
I can't. At the end, I think they hated me, but I just can't leave them here.
And he nods, as if that would make sense to him too.
It probably doesn't.
No,
that's fine.
But I think he falls into helping. I think is this the entrance? And yeah, sure enough, what looks like on the side of the burial mound might be something that could be opened.
I'm going to try and open it.
I think you can.
Cool.
Like this release of air pressure that we notice by the wind that's being let out.
I walk in, and is it like stony dry ground, or is it still like the soupy mess of the mire here?
It's a good question. But you asking that question makes me say that this is a study of the ruins.
Okay. Cool. Nice. Hit.
It seems to have seeped up from below somewhat, but it's more, the ground is firmer and more stable. It is moist nonetheless, but your foot falls onto cobblestone.
Yeah. I push in, and I'm looking for the place where the person was buried who lived here. Who lived here?
Yeah, who
was interred here.
And you move in, and you can sense what's in the darkness, and
I want to know, how can I take control here? At this moment.
I think, yeah, you walk in, and I think we see like the fiddler who doesn't dare, who's just like basically at the doorway, right? Like peering in, but doesn't follow. And as you move in, there is a person bard up in the middle of in the center of the room. All the sides are like maybe their belongings in life or something have been set up there. And they're in the center of the room. And I think as you look down upon them, very much in a similar way as you did with Klain, to reach out, basically to reach out and to reach out and touch them and pull them back in to this world.
Mm-hmm. And I guess as I'm doing this, obviously there's a memory because I know this person. And I think if they're unwrapped from their burial linens, I'm going to brush my thumb against the side of their temple and do that thing where I press my forehead against theirs.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember doing this when the two of us were alive, and we're both much, well, I was never old. I think Sivna died when they were very young still. But when we were barely more than children, teenagers, and this is one of the first, she was one of the first people that I met as I was setting out on my own. And she was a couple of years older than me. And it was probably after a hunt because we weren't quite soldiers yet in any way. And having skinned the animal and now have butchering the meat. And she's made a joke, and I'm laughing and pressing my forehead against hers as we're kind of sitting on the ground waiting.
What's her name?
Oh, let's look at a list.
As you're sharing food? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think what I'm also hearing is like she later became more. Or I don't mean more in like I mean in more is a strange word to use here. She became someone who had a burial mound created for her after she died. That's like a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I think her name is Alva, spelt I'll put it in chat. Alva, and she was, she was probably one of my generals, kind of thing. Like it was not a formal army. but she was one of the few that was loyal to me up until my end. At least that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, roll to recall a lost memory.
Yeah.
Nice. Very good. Yes, your recollection is accurate and complete. The GM will fill it out with additional detail.
I was gonna say, I don't know if Sivna had lovers and entered into romantic relationships with people, but out of everyone, Alva was probably the closest person they were to having that kind of relationship with, like more than just like.
I think she opens her eyes and the first word out of her undead throat is Sivna, and reaches up to, right, you have like you're cradling her head, and similarly to that, she reaches out to touch your head and run her thumb across your temple as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Nice to see you again.
Sivna, I've been here so long, it feels. And now you come. Thank you. She feels still a little weak finding herself. I think she tries to sit up, holding on to you.
Mm-hmm.
What was her role in the movement? Right.
I think, if not to be you know, in Les Miserables, there's when they've got all the Amis de ABC together, and there's Enjolras, who's like the big, inspiring, proud leader. I think that's Sivna. She was more the heart of the group, who was charismatic and connected with people on like a person-to-person basis. She could get to know anyone, always could make a joke in any situation. Not necessarily lighthearted, but
warm-hearted.
But warm-hearted, yeah, friendly towards everyone.
Yeah, like inward facing for the movement, for your group. Yeah. And I think that but way before that giggle from the first time, I think she made that joke. It made you laugh, and that made her giggle.
Mm-hmm.
And that rings out inside of the script right now. I think you have one last question if you want to.
I only asked one.
Oh, actually, did you?
Yeah. Yeah, I still have two. 3 questions. I want to ask, what here can be made into something useful and new?
I think we, if you don't run, we see you two step out of the crypt together. And she, as she looks over the land, I think we see more corpses rise out of the bog, joining the rest of your little small little host and growing.
Lovely. Love my new friends.
So yeah, I think you're on the right track. Right. That's the answer to your question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess the last thing I'm going to ask, obviously, is what here is wrong or strange as I'm looking across my small little troop of soldiers and my friend and someone who once was my friend. Who I may not trust anymore.
The fiddler doesn't fit in.
No, the fiddler. Fiddler is he doesn't? What? That's
He
what's
doesn't
wrong.
fit in. Yes.
Yeah. In what way?
I think we see this, and I think this is where we end on it tonight. We see it from his point of view, that he's like looking over what's happening here, and like we see the realization, like he's getting what's going on now. At least, what are you doing, right? And he seems kind of overwhelmed with it, and I think we just hear him. I just want to find the maestr's violin and play, and then have it end all, and have it be the end of all.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I think I like the scene of you two standing reunited outside the burial, and like more of the undead rising out of the bog as like the final scene. I still have to give you like a something from the traveling move, but I think we can save that as like the thing for next time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Then I'll even get to show you a picture that I did. Yeah. Shall I just start with outros, or? Oh no!
Oh, we have to do XP.
Yes, XP. End of session. So, when you reach the end of each session, you resolve bonds. So anyone have a bond they want to resolve?
Well, I think even though the Legionnaire isn't here, what my bond with them is, the Legionnaire knows more about me and who I was in the days before the end than I do. I'll get them to tell me. Now I think I do know a lot.
Yes.
About myself. So I don't know how that changes, but
you know so much about yourself.
Yeah, yes. You can leave it open for now, and then it would be if you wanted to help now, it would just be a +0 roll.
Yeah.
Until you can think of a different bond. So that's an XP. And see, so what are your drives like? I didn't remember to review them at the beginning of the session, so let's do them now. And maybe let's go around. Gregor, what's your drive?
My drive is destroy something corrupted by the fall.
Not quite, right?
Yeah, not unless we want to try to shoehorn a metaphor in here. I think I don't think so. No.
Sivna, your?
Mine is discover truth of the world before the fall.
I think that happened.
Yeah.
Like the truth of who you were.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the easiest.
And I mean, also like the truth of my like journey through life and having.
We definitely
the fight that I led.
Yeah, we definitely need like a name for this band. At least, yeah. How about Auden? What's your?
Restore something tarnished and ruined. She did not. She was just annoying for like 20 minutes there.
And then the group questions. Did we destroy something corrupt and dangerous?
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
Did we take, liberate, or create a powerful or useful treasure?
I mean, can a person be a powerful or useful treasure?
I think so.
Okay, cool.
As much as like persons are things in this world anyway.
Well,
Yeah.
I would argue some memories that we all got would probably be that could count as that as well.
Yeah. Well, or that's the next question though. Did we learn something important about the world before the fall?
Yes, universally, I would say yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. And did we take a step toward building a new world in the ruins?
I think we may have.
Well, with what I'm doing, it's definitely something.
Yeah.
Well, that, and also, I mean, it's now, getting together and starting to forge toward the getting that pretender off the throne. And so we now have more visible steps in front of us as to doing that, I think.
Yeah, and reconnecting to something
Yeah.
godlike, yeah. So, yeah,
One
that's 3.
XP away from leveling up.
That is 3 XP for everyone.
Yeah.
I have enough. I can level up again soon. I have enough XP.
Oh, and you should have hit it by now too, right?
Yeah, finally.
So you can think about what happens or which one to take next.
Already.
Awesome.
All right.
That was masterful, as always. Thank you so much, Mathias, for running this, and for and Rachel and Charlie for coming and playing. This has been delightful. I cannot wait to see what happens next. So we're going to go ahead and once more go around and say who we are, where you can find us, and any other thoughts they might want to throw in about this session. How they're feeling about it, what have you. And actually, this time I am going to go ahead and we'll start with Mathias.
Hey, I'm Mathias. You can find me at MTHSBLGR on Twitter. And next week on Tuesday on Pro Restarters channel, playing Key, an angel. Also an angel, quite a different angel, in a game of Apocalypse World. And on Thursday, our game of Monster Hearts 2, Autumn of the Merry Maidens, which has been so awesome as well. Yeah. And I think our last session of Hearts of Wulian still needs to be properly scheduled. You can find MTHSBLGR on Twitter. Thank you for having me here, Jim. And thank you, Rachel and Charlie. It's so much fun to play with you.
It really is. Thank you. And Charlie.
I'm Charlie. You can find me at Diet Cream Soda on Twitter. This is the only stream game I play in, and I have a lot of fun. And this was quite the session. Lots of memories. None of my own, but a lot of fun to hear.
Many memories. And finally, Rachel.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel. You can find me on Twitter at r_omulus. You can also find me every Tuesday, on Off the Tables channel, playing Urban Shadows. You can find me every other Thursday on Phantom Roll Booth, playing Stars Without Number, Ballad of the Garbage People. What else? Oh, also, I'm doing a podcast about the anime My Hero Academia, and you can find that on Twitter at Talkademia. And we're not releasing episodes yet. We are recording them, so if you like anime, or even if you don't, please listen.
Excellent. Very cool. I am Jim Ryan. This is my channel. So you can find me both on Twitch and Twitter at OtherDoc. That's OTHERDOC. And my website is jimyesthatjim.com, where I have links to the various audio projects and podcasts and other things that I do or have done. As for stuff coming up for me, I too am on Off the Table on Tuesday nights, playing Urban Shadows, which is a delight. It's been really awesome, and we're coming up on things are coming to a head there, and so I just really want to see what happens there as well. Let's see, as things go for this channel, this coming Thursday we should actually be doing, it's the first Thursday of the month, so that evening we should be doing our next episode of the Cyphercast. So for anyone who's a fan of the stuff coming out of Monty Cook Games, you may want to tune in. We'll be chatting all about that. On Friday and Saturday mornings, I do video games. This game is roughly every other Saturday, so it won't be next weekend. But I will say that tomorrow, so Sunday at around 4 p.m. Eastern, will be the first round of one-shots here on this channel for December, and I'm going to be facilitating Dirty Secrets, which is sort of a modern noir game. It takes on the detective genre, and it's very interesting. It's sort of flips the way you normally would think to do an RPG, and it's a single investigator and multiple authorities, so it's an interesting thing. We're going to take a crack at that, and so I'm very much looking forward to it. As things go, also you may note if you look down below, if you're watching this on my channel, there is a link to game signups. If you we're full up right now for Dirty Secrets, but still taking alternates. However, for the last 3 games of December, last 3 one-shots of December, still have some seats open. So that is My Life with Master, and then a week later will be, around Christmas time, will be a much sillier variant, My Life with Santa, where basically the concept of the game, you're all minions working for a villainous master, and we're sort of going to make that Santa Claus for the 23rd, and everyone will be worker elves and talking reindeer and such. It should be hysterical, hopefully. And then toward the end of the year, last one is going to be RVR, or Robot Hamlet versus Robot Richard III, which is a Lady Blackbird hack that I wrote a few years back, where I am mercilessly ripping off both Shakespeare and Star Wars, with perhaps just a tiny hint of Red Dwarf. So all of those still have seats open if anyone wants to click through and put in an application, what have you. In the meantime, this has been great.
So can I play a cat in that?
In RVR? Oh, I don't see why not. The interpretations of the characters are wide open, so it's always possible to play Hamlet or one of the other characters as something other than human. We don't know. Well, folks, that should be it for me. Take care. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all of a sudden. Farewell.
Thank you. Bye.